All of you is welcome here. Your ethnic, ancestral, physical, spiritual, emotional, sexual, political self. Leave nothing at the door. Bring your whole self. All of who you are is welcome in this place.
Good morning, and welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Fellowship of Montgomery online worship. My name is Lynn Hopkins. It is my honor to serve this congregation as its minister. I'm speaking to you from the lands of the Muskogee Creek people in Montgomery, Alabama. So I'd like to invite you into this hour of worship this morning with words from the German poet Rainer Maria Rilke. Now, I'm sure I'm not pronouncing that properly, so German speakers, feel free to set me straight. It is not inertia alone that is responsible for human relationships repeating themselves from case to case, indescribably monotonous and unrenewed. It is shyness before any sort of new, unforeseeable experience with which one does not think oneself able to cope. But only someone who is ready for everything, who excludes nothing, not even the most enigmatical, will live the relation to another as something alive and will himself draw exhaustively from his own existence. It is our practice in each service to speak aloud the covenant formed by this congregation's members. We, the members and friends of the Unitarian Universalist Fellowship of Montgomery, promise to serve our community with open minds, willing hearts, and helping hands, as we respect one another, honoring that our perceptions may differ, value our differences, working to better understand them in conflict, give joyfully of ourselves, being in harmony with our capabilities, and embrace our connections with each other, nature, the global community, and the great mystery of life. Now I want to welcome back our coordinator of religious education. We missed you last week, Roger. Roger Burdett will bring us a time for all ages.
Well, here we are again. Our journey has brought us back to these videos. I kind of missed making the videos, but I don't miss being in the middle of a pandemic. Yet here we are. It's part of our journey, and that is important. Welcome to Time for All Ages. I am shooting this video from the high school where I teach. In fact, this is my classroom. Responsible rhetoric spoken here. Keep calm and use your words. Think before you speak. Read before you think. Now listen, I don't promise that I always do those things. It's a process. I'm on my own journey, and that is what our lesson is about today. For today, here are a few words to live by. Be kind often. Believe in what you can't see. Believe that you are exactly as you're supposed to be. And look at this one. Trust your journey. In my classroom here, there are a couple of pieces of a model of a bicycle hanging up. And I said a couple of pieces. I bought that bicycle model years ago, and it's been in a few classrooms now. And it was meant to represent journey. We're on our journey. Well, then when I moved from Lanier High School to here, the handlebars broke off. I thought about getting another bicycle, but I went, no. That furthers the metaphor, because guess what? In our journey, things get broken sometimes, right? And then, lo and behold, this year, I teach mostly freshmen. Sometimes they're goofballs. So I walked out of the classroom one time, and I have a little ball, and they were throwing it around and joking and playing, and they knocked the thing down and broke it in two. I was a little irritated with them, but I said, this is going to further our metaphor even more. I made them hang them back up, but I said, don't fix the bicycle, because in our journey, sometimes things get broken. Relationships, finances, etc. So let's look at a story today about a journey. Mistakes are how we learn, by Kiara Wilson. Mistakes are how I learn. Tamara had big dreams, but every time she would fail and was forced to take a step back, Tamara would give up and bail. Does that feel familiar? You face problems, consequences. It would be so easy just to fail, just to give up, just to stop. But I'll bet you Tamara is not going to give up. Her mistakes would infuriate her and make her so mad. Perfection is what she sought. To her, messing up was bad. Her parents tried to comfort her. Mistakes are how we learn. That is how we grow with each twist and turn, the parents told her. So Tamara set goals to conquer one day. I will let a growth mindset lead the way. Interesting, because that term growth mindset, it's a whole way of thinking, and I actually introduced our young people recently in class when we were meeting in person to the growth mindset, and we'll continue learning about the growth mindset when we come back together. Even when life makes me fret, I won't say, I can't do this. I'll say, I can't do this yet. So Tamara tried out for the gymnastics team, but she wasn't selected. Did this shatter her dream? She just said, there's next year. I'll just take it steady and practice each day until I am ready. We all make mistakes and sometimes we fail, but each setback's a lesson that we need to nail. At school in a math test, she received a C. So Tamara studied harder, and the next test scored a B. All successful people struggle sometimes. They reach within to find the strength inside. When obstacles come up, they rise to the occasion and become more determined to find their motivation. Tamara learned to say, all my dreams will come true if I have a growth mindset in all that I do. A growth mindset says, I can do this. It'll take work. It'll take time, but I can do this. So even when something seems tough at first glance, just keep on pushing. You'll soon get your chance. Mistakes are how I learn. I'll get there soon. I'll keep dreaming big, even if it's flying to the moon. One last word from the author. Thank you for picking up my book. Mistakes are how I learn. I have a passion for helping others in all that they do. I am a living, breathing testament of living life with doubt and fear. Take great care of yourself. Have a great week.
Now let us sing to the power of the faith within. Sing to the power of the faith within. Lift up your voice, be not afraid. Sing to the power of the faith within. Sing to the power of the hope within. Sing to the power of the hope within. Lift up your voice, be not afraid. Sing to the power of the hope within. Sing to the power of the love within. Sing to to the power of the love within. Lift up your voice, be not afraid. Sing to the power of the love within. Sing to the power of the joy within. Sing to the power of the joy within. Lift up your voice, be not afraid. Sing to the power of the joy within.
So we have a practice in our congregation of setting aside a time to lift up and let go the things that we carry with us through the week. For me, during this week, my heart has been with the educators, the teachers, staff, and everyone who helps the kids in the school, as well as the children themselves. As we live with this persistent uncertainty as to what is safe for the kids and the adults. And it's been remote learning, classroom learning, back and forth. I know it's maddening and stressful in a profession that is already maddening and stressful. So I want to express my deep appreciation for those who keep at it. I lift up all of those who live in a situation of anxiety or fear because of this pandemic. For those who are living with active infection, for those struggling to recover, for those in isolation waiting to hear word of their test results, for those who have loved ones who are suffering, for those who have lost friends and family members as these numbers just continue to rise. And I am outraged and deeply saddened by the way in which political attitudes have tainted what should be nothing but our concern for one another in community, keeping each other safe. Loving our neighbor as ourself is not a proprietary notion of any one faith tradition. All of the major faith traditions teach to treat others as we ourselves would be treated, and I cannot imagine that any of us would want to coexist with people who could not care less whether they are contributing to us being sick. I want to offer an embrace to all of the members of the community who see that happening all around them and live with the anger and hurt of that on top of the anxiety and fear of the threat. I want to celebrate Jean Dillon's 100th birthday yesterday. I hope you got her a card, but if you didn't, go do it today. And I invite you now to use the chat space to speak what is on your heart, to release your concerns as well as your joys into this space, into this fellowship of compassion and care.
Spirit of life, come unto me. Sing in my heart all the stirrings of compassion.
Since January 1, we have been doing Chalica, right? It's this winter festival of Unitarian Universalism. We take 1 week to focus on and give attention to one of the principles in the Unitarian Universalist Association Covenant of Congregations. These principles are usually referred to in the shorthand of the 7 principles, but there are 8. There is this 8th principle that has been proposed and has been ratified by many congregations in our system, including the Unitarian Universalist Fellowship of Montgomery. So I talked about the 8th principle last week, and now this week I am back in numerical order. The principles come out of a covenant into which every Unitarian Universalist congregation enters. Each congregation as a body makes this pledge. So it begins, we, the member congregations of the Unitarian Universalist Association, covenant to affirm and promote. 1, the inherent worth and dignity of every person. 2, justice, equity, and compassion in human relations. And 3, acceptance of one another and encouragement to spiritual growth in our congregations. 8, journeying toward spiritual wholeness by working to build a diverse, multicultural, beloved community by our actions that accountably dismantle racism and other oppressions in our institutions. So this week is number 3. We covenant to affirm and promote acceptance of one another and encouragement to spiritual growth in our congregations. This is one principle in which those preface words really don't make a lot of sense. The 3rd principle is structured in its language the same way as the others. And it makes perfect sense to say, we affirm and promote the inherent worth and dignity of every person. But to say we affirm and promote acceptance of one another, what? That's not really what we're trying to say. What we're trying to say is that included in this covenant is this pledge to accept one another and encourage one another to spiritual growth within our congregations. This is the only one that actually specifies that we're talking about congregational life specifically. The special, powerful bond that exists or can exist among members of a covenanted congregation. That's one of the reasons that congregations form covenants with each other to signify that we will be faithful to each other in these ways. That's what our congregational covenant is intended to do. It is a pledge that individuals make to one another as they form a congregation. But the principles come out of this different sort of covenant in which congregations, each one as a whole, pledges itself to be faithful to Unitarian Universalism in these particular ways. And in the 3rd, what we are pledging is that we will accept one another and encourage spiritual growth. Now, it's no secret, a covenant, particularly a religious covenant, a covenant of a faith community, is in large part aspirational. We promise to do things that we know sometimes we don't do. And probably the hardest part of living in covenant for most of us is that a covenant includes within itself a commitment. We undertake a commitment, an obligation to hold each other accountable to this covenant of acceptance of one another and encouragement to spiritual growth. Well, the fact of the matter is we spend a lot of time talking about acceptance of one another in a lot of various ways. I'm not going to do that today, because there is an aspect of this principle that gets a whole lot less attention. Maybe in large part because it's very hard to say what it really means. It's difficult to even define any one of the words in this phrase, encouragement to spiritual growth. So, after giving a great deal of thought to what that would mean, what are we pledging ourselves to? What have we as a congregation said we will do when we say that we covenant to encouragement to spiritual growth within our congregation? I've decided not to answer that question. Rather than talk to you about encouragement, you know what I really want to do, what I really want to do is encourage. These times have been some of the most challenging of a lifetime for many of us. Some people have a personality and a neurological and emotional composition that makes pandemic life not so awful. But for many of us, especially as it wears on these days, and I think this time, this new surge has been the hardest yet. And as I look around me just in my daily life, and as I listen to the voices of the people with whom I interact on a regular basis, I'm hearing this overwhelming weariness. Me too. In fact, I was sitting in a meeting last week, and it just struck me that we weren't having any fun. And so I posed a question to the room. 8 people on a Zoom screen. I said, "Are you having any fun?" And 8 people shook their head no. Joy is a necessary part of our existence. We cannot sustain ourselves, much less our community, if we cannot find and access that joy.
So in this song, I'm going to invite you to sing along. It's a simple chant, the words by Rumi and the melody by Elisa S. Keeler. And it comes with an invitation to engage your entire body in the singing with mudras. Light surrounds me, light above me, light within me, shining through me. So if you have the space and you're so inclined, why not get your entire body involved in singing this song? Light surrounds me, light above me, light within me, shining through me. Light surrounds me, light above me, light within me, shining through me. Light surrounds me, light above me, light within me, shining through me. One more time. Light surrounds me, light above me, light within me, shining through me. Light surrounds light above, light within me, shining through me. Light surrounds above, light within me, shining through me. Light above, light within, moving through me. Light above, light within, moving through me. Light surrounds, light above, light within, shining through me. Light surrounds, light above, light surrounds. Light surrounds me, light above me, light within me, moving through me.
Can you feel that light? If not, can you at least have a sense that it is there, even though you can't feel it right now? In order for us to access the joy that we need in order to continue to thrive, we're gonna have to learn some openness, some vulnerability that we do not currently practice. Now, some of you have it, no doubt. But we as a congregation, you know, we are a loving family. Everyone who comes to visit talks about the warm welcome, and we do deeply care about each other. But let's be truthful here. Sunday morning service isn't normally a time of intentional openness and vulnerability. We will need to find a way of letting go and opening up. I know we can. I've seen it happen. We have got to do it, to open up, to be willing to experience things, even things that we are sure we could not possibly cope with. To open ourselves to new encounters, new experiences, new insights, new understanding, new stuff we do on Sunday morning, new ways of participation, new ways of leadership, new everything. we have everything that we need right here among ourselves in this fellowship. But to access it, to enliven it, to give it the power to which it is entitled, we are called to open ourselves up. Every many years or so, it's not a regular cycle, but somewhere between 5 and 10 years typically, I experience myself as spiritually sort of hitting a barrier, getting stuck, feeling like this that I have, this isn't going to work, and this is all I have. Compelled by the circumstance, compelled by the situation I find myself in, I muster the courage to open myself up to something completely unexpected, unfamiliar, maybe even frightening. And every time, it's right there. Now, in second hour today, I'm going to talk about one of those encounters with a life changer for me personally, Thich Nhat Hanh, who died this weekend. And I could not possibly begin to even scratch the surface of the magnitude of his work and of its influence on me, but I just want to talk for a few minutes about the influence of Thich Nhat Hanh in my life. So I know it works. And I cannot help but wonder if I could exercise the discipline to remain open to entirely unfamiliar experiences, if I could remain in that beginner's mind just a little more often. Maybe I wouldn't have to hit that wall so much, because I know it works. I know that the practice of vulnerability and openness, of willing to hear and take in and take seriously unfamiliar, even challenging insights and teachings from others, can be life-transforming, life-renewing. I know it because it's happened over and over again in my life. And I know it's happened for others because it really is a critical brick in the structure that is Unitarian Universalism. We can do this together. Encouragement to spiritual growth. I hope I've offered some. I'm going to close out with a piece of music that I have in mind a special and beloved friend. I don't know if you're listening, but if you are, you'll know this is for you.
Now, in the twinkle of an eye, in the flicker of a daydream, you find yourself floating out in the midst of molten light, despite the doubt and fear, knowing you'll be safe, safe to float, safe to fly, safe to let go. How, in the midst of blatant lies, in the mystery before us, can we find ourselves reaching out, reaching in to find what's right, and despite what's brought us here, knowing we are safe, safe to know,
time to fly, but we'll have to let go. It's okay not to know. It's okay not to know. What comes next? Show up at your best. You're perfect as you are, perfect as you are, and let go. It's okay not to know. It's okay not to know. What comes next? To show up at your best. You're perfect as you are, perfect as you are. Let go. Let go.
So I hope you will come over to second hour, and I'll see you at 11:15. Let's talk about how that movement felt. Let's talk about other things that might be enlivening in the worship experience in this medium that is so restrictive. And let's talk about Thich Nhat Hanh. For now, our service has ended. May our service begin.
Oh yeah, oh my darling, stand by me. No matter who you are, no matter where you go, you gon' need somebody to stand by you. No matter how much money you got, all the friends you got, you could need somebody to stand by you.
When the night has come and the land is dark and the moon is the only light you see. No, I won't be afraid. No, I won't be afraid. Just as long as you stand by me. So darling, darling, stand by me. Oh, won't you stand? Come on now, won't you stand? Stand by me. Stand by me.